Hello everyone, today we're going to look at how well the 7-year-old R9 270X performs in 2020. With a launch price of $200, it should be considered a mid-tier card of the time. How I miss cards being $200. This card features 2GB of GDDR3, which will definitely be a limiting factor these days for any modern gaming needs. So let's get into the benchmarks. First off is the new Avengers game. Well, it launches at least, but I do have some bad news. It crashes quite a lot, and it seems to happen whenever high detailed effects are used in the game, and it might be a limiting factor of DirectX 12 feature level. Even though it supports DirectX 12, there are reports of it being problematic with the newer DX12 games. For what it's worth, I ran the game at 1440x900 on medium preset while getting an average frame rate of 31 frames per second, but all I could do was run around with characters because of the crashing issue. Next up is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It pretty much ran at console-like experience, running at 1080p low settings with textures and clutter set on medium and ambient occlusion on high. It averaged 35 frames per second with 1% lows of 26 frames per second. It really was a good budget experience on this card, considering I paid $30 for it. Throwing in the next title, it's Call of Duty Warzone. Now, competitive first-person shooters, I'd really recommend above 60 frames per second. So you might want to remove anti-aliasing, lowering resolution with the R9 270X in this game. But be warned, the jaggies are crazy. The R9 270X still gave a decent enough performance level at 1080p low settings with Filmic SMAA T2X enabled with an average of 40 frames per second and 1% lows of 29 frames per second. It did at least give us a playable experience though. Now let the memes begin with, can it rerun Crysis with the new Crysis Remastered edition? I started off testing Crysis at high settings with ray tracing off and SMAA enabled on a resolution of 1440x900p. The first 20 seconds in game was a stuttery mess, but after my PC choked to death, it started eating again, smoothing out. The average I got was 38 frames per second, with the 1% low of 26 frames per second. Turning down to medium settings helped a lot, with an average increasing to 58 frames per second and the 1% loads bumping up to 44 frames per second. So yep, the R9 270X can still run Crysis, albeit at sacrificing eye candy. Next up is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. This game was pretty easy to run, though it is locked at 60 frames per second. The R9 270X got an average of, no surprise, 60 FPS, but my real interest was to see how good the 1% lows would be when testing this title, and by no surprise it went bad either, with a 1% low of 54 frames per second at 1440x900 on maximum settings with 100% resolution scale. It won't hurt turning this title up to 1080p. Lastly, I'm testing One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. The R9 270X averaged 59 frames per second with 1% lows of 42 frames per second at a resolution of 1336 by 768 on max settings. I wanted to try and increase the resolution, but my monitor has quite a difficult aspect ratio, so I left the resolution as is. In conclusion, the R9 270X was a steal at $30. Well, at least where I live on the second-hand market, with competing performance priced at $100 with cards such as the GTX 1050 or GTX 960 is going at this going rate. R9 270X can still boogie, and I'd recommend it if you are looking for a super low-end gaming rig to slap together. But I really don't know for how long this card will be a viable option. Because of DirectX 12 issue and limiting VRAM, the R9 270X might near its end sooner than you think. If you like this video, feel free to drop a like and or comment or subscribe. Also comment if I should build a budget PC with this card for the next video. It will be around $100 in total. Thanks, bye.